All right, we're just making sure everything's good. Hold on, guys. All right. Well, what is going on, everybody? I figured that I would come on here, talk live with you guys about anything that's going on with the Mets right now. I think everybody knows the obvious. What now? Mets are done. They're done for the season, losing 2 out of 3 to the Padres at home. We had our post game on game 3. We were covering all post game coverage and everything. So if you guys want to replay that, I doubt you want to, considering that the Mets did lose. But I am currently just letting it. I was letting it sit for about almost 48 hours, and I think I'm ready to finally full on talk about it again. Um, I think it wasn't. I'm going to tell you right now. I don't think it was as scarring of a loss as it is compared to a lot of other losses that we've had. I think this definitely did not crack the top 10, maybe not even the top 20. And I'll get into that as the stream goes along. Maybe we might have some people call in if they want to talk live with me. Maybe I'll see. I'll make that decision later. But yeah, it's been a rough week. So for those who want to vent about this whole situation and how they feel about the Mets right now, let it all out. This is the space to be. Welcome to Mets Weekly, presented by Empire Sports Media.
On 3-2, Vader swings and misses, strike 3. He struck it out. 5 big pitchers combined for the second no-hitter in New York Mets history.
Don't worry, Julio Rodriguez has 2 hits today. The Phillies won. I mean, I'm not really one of those to really root for one of the rivals. I'm going to tell you right now, I hate the Phillies and I hate the Braves. I'm not really. But I will say that I do have in my bracket for the Mariners fan in here, who I know, for Julio Rodriguez, I do have the Mariners going to the World Series in my bracket. So I hope you enjoy that. No, I'm a believer in J Rod. I think that's kind of been established since the All-Star break. I'd say that. Hopefully the Yankees lose. Again, like I'm not really paying attention to other teams. Whoever wins. But hey, Julio will carry us harder than I know Julio didn't really do much. Did he do much in the wild card series? I didn't see that, but they did hit pretty well along with that. So yeah, we'll see. I mean, y'all want to talk about the playoffs? We can. Yeah, he didn't hit. It looked like he didn't hit. But yeah, that entire Blue Jays meltdown was crazy. And God, that was a scary moment. I'm not gonna lie. The whole deal with Springer and everything, and how that kind of unraveled for Toronto, that kind of sucked. But you know what? It kind of sucked even harder the next day when my team basically decided to not even show up. I'd say that I'd say that like um looking back on it now, I'd say about 48 hours later, I'm still at the same state of like I kind of saw the team unraveling for the last few months, like the last month or whatever. There was quite a few nails in the coffin, but it wasn't officially over until 48 hours ago when they lost to San Diego. So they had a chance to win the division. They didn't win the division. They held on to it pretty much for the entire year. Didn't win it. Put themselves in a more difficult scenario. And the top guys especially the pitching staff, such as Scherzer and Bassett in that playoff series, did not give us what we wanted to give us. I'd say that I'm not mad about. I'm not. My main piss off about it, I'd say, is probably. I'd say it's kind of the situation of guys that are leaving. If I could go back in time, would you sign Wheeler? I probably would. Um, yeah, I said it for months. There will be no Yankees Astros ALCS. So one of them will get knocked off. I mean, it's possible that does happen, and I'm not gonna lie. But I think there's one thing that you have to keep in mind with players who play 162 games and pretty much that play every single game. Well, game one, the team that's on the bye week, it's on the bye week or whatever bye that they got. That team's definitely it's very possible that they're going to be rusty in the first game. So I'm not full on saying the praises that the Braves are going to lose. They still have multiple chances to move on from that. And teams like the Yankees, teams like the Astros, I mean, I'd say that one game is not the series is never over. That's how you see it. But, I'd say that that's the only pure disadvantage to a team having a bye week to the next week is they're definitely going to be rusty and they're not going to look like the team that was expected of them as a high. They're not going to look like a higher seed team in the first game. It's very possible that couldn't happen. And I'm pretty sure all the bye week teams have they all lost today so far? I know the Braves lost. The Dodgers haven't played yet. The Mariners are winning. They're beating the Astros, right? But yeah. I mean, again, it's possible, but we'll see. Verlander got destroyed like Max in game 1. Wow. Well, a lot of aces have not really had their best outing. I'd say is Jake the best one? Was he the best performance? Maybe Wheeler? Nola, maybe? Wheeler and Nola, yeah. Jake was good, though. He was good. It wasn't his full-on dominant self, but he definitely did get the job done, put us in a position to win the game. And that was the only time where we grabbed the early lead in that second game. But currently, what you're looking at right now is a team that can look a lot different next year. I wish Cleveland got a better name. Anyways, go Cleveland. Yeah, well, I want to see Jimenez and Rosario do well. Because they have been doing well all year. That Cleveland team's fun to watch. I give them props. They are fun to watch. They are definitely a fun team. Their pitching is really good. But yeah, I thought I'd just come on here, vent for whatever thoughts that I have. And I'd say about in a few hours, me and Andrew we're gonna record quite a few videos that are gonna go out throughout the week, and so keep your eyes out for those. Today, I just did not see the opportunity to post anything, so that's why I'm doing a stream here, and then also kind of just prepping everything else. I give Dave Dombrowski credit. All the moves are working out right now. If Phillies win the World Series, though, that's 3 teams. Yep, that is true. That is true, and that's one thing that sucks. We have not won since '86. The Marlins have made the playoffs twice, if you want to exclude 2020, because 2020 is 2020. And they won both the World Series both times, dismantled their team. Nationals won in 2019. The Braves won last year. Yeah, it's going to suck. It really is going to suck because the Mets this year seem to match up pretty well against all of those teams this year. And that sucks. It really does because the Mets, all they had to do is win one game and they'd be playing today, which sucks. They just needed to win one game. And it didn't happen. And it shoulda, woulda, coulda. That's all I can really say at this point. There's a lot of backbreakers that they had this year. I wouldn't say that, this team was set up to fail. I think the team they were good enough to prove that, they could make a deep run. But at the end of the day, it just was not meant to be. And that was the thing. They just that magic that came in that first 4 or 5 months, it just ran out. That was just what you saw. The magic completely ran out. Buck didn't rest players enough in September. Again, I will say one thing. Buck has made his questionable decisions. I'm not saying he's a perfect manager at all, but I will say that there's too many lying reasons as to why this team didn't succeed the way they wanted to. And I'm not really here to point fingers. I think this is probably the most team loss, I'd say, in Mets history. You usually have multiple guys to point fingers at, but you can blame Max Scherzer, you could blame Chris Bassett, you could blame the lack of offense, you could blame the lack of depth, you can blame the trade deadline, the front office. I mean, there's a lot of things that you can blame because it looked like a team that could make a deep run and make a deep impression, but they just didn't. That sucks. Then Phillies beat Atlanta. I mean, sure, and then I'll tell you right now, every team I'm not the biggest fan of that's in the NL right now. So an AL team, I'd say either Cleveland or Seattle, I'd like to see win it all. But yeah. Again, I mean, Philly lost. Philly lost against us all year. We would be playing Philly right now, but we didn't get to it. It didn't happen. An 101 win team that didn't win their division, didn't get to the National League Division Series. It sucks. Are we rooting for the Phillies or the Braves? I'm rooting for a rain out, man. I'm gonna tell you right. I'm rooting for it to get postponed. That's it. I'm gonna tell you right now. I hate both teams with a passion. If we had to pick, this is like, would you rather pull teeth or cut your toenails off, or cut your toes off? It's just such a hard thing. Will the Mets trade McCann, Reed Foley, Vogelbach, and prospects Allen and Newton to the Brewers for Burns and Taylor? I doubt that'll ever happen. But if it does, where do I sign? Where do I sign? Dodgers will take care of them anyways. I mean, yeah, again, you gotta play the games. And like we've always said, anything can happen in October. That's what I can say. In a weird way, I think Judge to the Mets is more likely than DeGrom coming back, and Judge to the Mets, I don't think will happen. Yeah, I'm not really on that subject yet. I'd say that like most of the offseason stuff, and you'll see this in the videos coming this week and the next week, we're going to kind of keep it in-house of how the Mets approach it with free agents or with trades. We're not really going to mention the judges and the Correas. I think that's more of the strict off-season stuff. We're kind of gonna mix a lot more of kind of recapping what went on in the season and along with the future of that by keeping it Mets centric. I think that's what the approach I'm trying to take in these next 2 weeks. And then once the offense kind of the off-season offense got the Mets on the brain still, so they didn't do anything. That's it. Will the Yankees bring back Judge? I will say one thing. I do think the Judge talks. I am going to say right now that I think he figures it. I think the Yankees and Judge figure it out. But we'll see. MLB offseason really sucks because when the stove is cold, it's really cold. Yeah. And I think we kind of saw that enhanced with a rapid fire free agency before the that lockout that we had. That was something that I think I think that was something that kind of got the excitement going. But it's going to be a long off season compared to last one. And hopefully we see some more changes made. I'd say that, the winter meetings is when that is that's where it goes. Would I bring back Bassett? I love Bassett. I think he's been one of my favorite pitchers ever since his rookie year. My dad is a huge A's fan. So a lot of these guys that we got from the A's, I know very well. And I watched them develop into some of the best players on the market. And I love Bassett. But I will say that, and this goes for DeGrom too, and this goes for everybody else in that rotation. It's how high are the Mets willing to go with this payroll? Are they going to rage spend after seeing us be basically humiliated with one hit in an elimination game? And then that's the question that's probably going to be answered. And I think everybody's expecting us to really do spend and go over the Cohen tax, which is named after Cohen. And that's it. I think I love Bassett, and would I love to bring him back? Yes, I would love to bring him back. I don't think that the game that he pitched really defines the type of pitcher he is. I don't, it's something that I'm not willing to bank on, that he's just this guy who melts down in the postseason. I know he's better than that. I really do. And he is the third starter if they do bring him back, but there are other options on the market there, and that's something that the Mets do have to consider. But we all know that as for all the free agents we have, and we learned that last year, that we can't bring everybody back because this team just didn't go the distance. If this team, went to the NLCS, lost in Game 6, but I will say that a team that won 101 games, a team that led the division for 99.9% of the season, I think there has to be changes made. The expectation was high to be a World Series contender, and they didn't even get to the previous regulation of the division series. We had a new wild card series that we had to play in, and we couldn't even get past that. So you knew that kind of just ran out of gas with them, and we know that they love taking 2 out of 3 from series all year. They seemed like they were allergic to sweep. It was definitely one of those rare occasions, especially for a team that was one of the best in all of baseball for all year. but they couldn't win 2 out of 3 against a Padres team that they beat them pretty good in the regular season and also in the postseason. Um, that I mean, that Padres team got better. They added Josh Bell and they added Juan Soto and Josh Hader, and they made their moves. They knew they were a good team, and they made it even better. It definitely showed the difference from what we did at the deadline compared to a lot of these other teams that they did at the deadline. So it wasn't enough. It really wasn't. And we kind of knew the wheels falling off ever since that trade deadline and ever since that September where they started off terrible at home. That was it. Not signing anyone at the trade deadline really hurt us this year. It definitely did. They needed a headliner move and they didn't make it. So they needed one of those headliner moves, but they, I think they got a little too big for their head, and I think they saw, as long as we keep relying on Pete Alonso and Francisco Lindor to do everything for us and never have a bad game, they banked on a lot. They made a risk and it didn't pay off. It really didn't. We talked about this all the time. They made the risk of the bullpen. They relied on guys staying healthy, being effective. Guys like Trevor May, who, even though he was okay towards the end of the season, he wasn't a big impact reliever in that bullpen. Tyler McGill did not look good, look comfortable, look healthy at all. Michael Givens is a good reliever, and I think a lot of people have given him a lot of hate just because he was the only guy that they brought in at the trade deadline, but Michael Givens is a good reliever. He is good. He had a few rough outings towards the beginning of his Mets tenure, but Michael Givens is a good reliever. He's just not the frontline guy they needed to bring in. I don't have a problem with him, middle reliever type of guy. Not terrible. He's good. He's a good reliever. Above average reliever. Quality. But they needed more. They did need more. Even though the bullpen was never really the main culprit towards the end of the season, starting pitching started to unravel. We saw the offense go through its shaky outings, and I think it was just a very stubborn approach by this team, and I'm still going to continue going with that. Pete needs protection. Said that since the game, the season began. That was said before that. And that was one of the main reasons why I was like, okay, well, does it really seem bad to bring back Javier Baez? That was one of the biggest deals. I understand he didn't play well for the Tigers, but that's not really my biggest that wasn't really my biggest concern. It was just the fact that even if Baez didn't perform and they brought him back, it was power protection for Alonso. Noah and Verlander are free agents. Verlander I'd look at. I'd look at Verlander, but I'm only giving him a 1 or 2 year deal if he opts out. I'm not giving him 3, 4. I'm not going past that. Noah, no. I'm not bringing him back. I think it's time to move on from him. I'm going to tell you right now. I think if you watch our streams, if you watch our videos and everything, you know that I am, and we talk about trolling mechanisms here, but we all know that I'm a huge Conforto fan, and he's been one of my favorite players that I've ever watched. I grew up watching him. Aside from the trolling, aside from the head-to-head of all of us, the 4 of us, and we go back and forth and everything, it made sense to move on, right? It made sense for them to move on from these guys that where it just really wasn't working, or whether they had individual success, it wasn't contributing to this team the way it was. I think it's one of those situations where you need a different look. And that's what you were looking at. I think we all knew that Matz had to go. I think we all knew that once Wheeler left and, Harvey was gone and, they're split up now. Do I want to do that with Jake? Do I want to, send off the last piece? No, I don't want to do that with him. That's a different exception because as for him, Jacob deGrom, compared to every single one of, are not the best at his position and also not the generational talent that he is. And again, that's how it is. He was going to pitch out of the Phillies bullpen today, which is such a bad sign for what he used to be. Correct. And I do regret the Mets not putting Noah Syndergaard in the bullpen. Given looking at it in hindsight, I think for someone who threw as hard as he did and someone who relied on velocity, he just seemed like more of a reliever to me, I'd say. I would have done that to keep him healthy. Noah's ego would have never went to the bullpen. Absolutely. That's another thing. That is another thing. But yeah, I think I'm just not really sure about, guys who left already, guys like that. I think it's time to not recycle that. I think it's done. I think we're done bringing guys back that were here and left, succeeded somewhere else. I think we just need a new look. We need fresh faces. That's something that we do need. The only exception for that is I'd say is Jacob deGrom, in my opinion. But maybe the front office doesn't feel that way. We'll see. Like it was Familia. Familia had to go. Like it was done. Again, like when you've seen for multiple years now that this team doesn't work out, individual performances start to go by the wayside, I'd say. And if you have to break something up, you have to break something up. And I think that's something that they're going to have to consider. Guys like Nimmo, maybe they get rid of Nimmo. Maybe they let him walk. A lot of the guys in the bullpen, I think, are going to walk. I've talked about this before, where the approach I want the Mets to take with the bullpen is kind of just whether it's bring back Diaz. If you don't bring back Diaz, don't bring back anybody else, in my opinion, and just blow it up, in my opinion. I think they need to blow up that bullpen. Even though it hasn't been the biggest problem as the gaslighting media has really made it to be, I think there's just been a very big combination of tough stretches, good stretches. I'd say that the system was just not working. Rayanel Soto. I don't know if I said that right, but what's going on? But yeah, I think I think there's a lot of arms that you just need to move on from. There really is. And I only have one exception to that. That's it. I'd say that the Drew Smiths and the Seth Lugos and, all these other guys who are still here from the homegrown or from the minor leagues, I think they need some new faces. And that's what I think they need to do in that bullpen. Orpheus? What's going on? How you doing? I'm not rooting for the Yankees. I'm not really rooting for anyone right now. I would be rooting for the Mets tonight if they made it, but they didn't. Yeah, I'm not trying to make this 100% of a sob story, but it sucks. I mean, that's something that it sucked that they lost. It really did, because we felt good about this team for a long time. Would you bring back Acevedo? With a limit, with a limit. I think if he wants, they gave him $4 million this year. I think if he wants, if he wants $6 million, sure, why not? But that's as high as I'm going. He's 36. He may retire. We don't know. Again, I'm not gonna full on just disclose his postseason outing that he had in Game 2, because he was great all year, and he was great for us. He was the second guy behind Diaz, and he's a very talented reliever. He fixed a lot of problems that he had throughout his entire career. In a 36-year-old season, he had one of the best seasons of his career. He was great. Who's my hockey team? I'm a New York Ranger fan. Love the Rangers. Love that team. They're young. Yeah, they're young. Unlike this Mets team. You need guys like Carter, Hernandez, Dykstra. You have a bunch of tulips. I can vouch for that, I'd say. I can vouch for that whole situation. We needed Baez swag. I loved Baez. I wanted to bring him back. I really did. I think the dynamic of the lineup would have been a lot better with Baez in it, but that's it's a sunk cost at this point. You can't really say much about it. Yeah. 1986 Mets. Yeah, that was a different time. I'd say it's a different time. But in this modern day, if we had that type of team right now of guys who are very, I wouldn't say all over the place, but just the way that they acted, I'd say that they weren't liked much, and I think that was one thing that in this modern day, if you had this 86 Mets team in a modern day, and this is kind of like a parallel universe type of thing, they would have been a dynasty. I think they would have, because of how the time has kind of changed. That 86 team, of how it was in the 80s, of how the environment was, of the economy, shall we say. Not really, but that team was built to win one. That was it. They were built to win one, and they dismantled it. It kind of just unraveled like that. I go through your statement on I'd bring him back on a 1-year deal, at least $6 million. What about McCann? Do you think the Mets can move him or expect him with the Mets next year? I don't think McCann comes back next year. I hope he doesn't. If you watch all of our videos and our streams, you know that McCann is the bane of my existence. I hate that guy. They did self-destruct. That's true. J-Rod better than Conforto? Sure. You think the Mets will get Turner? Trey Turner? I would consider it. I would consider getting Turner and moving Jeff to left field if Nimmo walks. But I don't think Turner would want to be a Met, even though we've seen some stuff of him saying favorite stadium to play at. He doesn't like facing Jacob deGrom, stuff like that. That's all talk again. I would go after Turner if Nimmo walks. Yes, I would go after Turner. What about Judge? I don't see that happening. I don't see it happening unless, and this is unless, that money talks. Am I a Knicks fan? Unfortunately, yes. Yeah, I've had quite a week. I've had quite a week with a lot of my teams. I'm gonna call it the ESPN doldrum week. That's what I'm gonna call it. You guys want to listen to this week for a second? Let me tell you how this worked. Okay. Here's how tough this was for me. Okay. I want you all to listen to my week. Okay. So the first game of the playoff series against the Padres, I see one of the greatest pitchers of all time, one of our legitimate aces, give up 7 runs, right? That sucked. And it was on ESPN. Game 2, I see my favorite pitcher of all time, someone I grew up watching, possibly pitch his last game as a New York Met, right? That sucked, right? That was on ESPN. Day 3, I watch Bassett implode, and I watch the Mets get 1 hit in an elimination game, ending their season. Yesterday, Raiders Chiefs. I'm a huge Raider fan. They lose by 1 point on ESPN. 4 straight days of ESPN, 4 straight days of heartbreak, folks. And now, here's the funny part. You ready? Tonight, my Rangers play on ESPN as well. Yeah, that sucks. Yeah, Adams will also be suspended. Yeah, probably. ESPN is cursed. We've known that for a long time. Ezra, Urza, I can tell you that right now. Merlin, I don't know which one we're referring to you as now. Diehard Knicks and Mets fan. This season reminds me of the Knicks overachieving in 2021 when they made the playoffs and Atlanta beat us bad. Yeah. I don't know. I'm not that positive with the Knicks situation right now. I'm going to tell you right now. They're the team that makes me the most cynical. You'd think it would be the Mets, but the Mets I kind of expect a lot of dysfunction from. The Knicks I expect dysfunction from, but Buck has 2 years left on his contract for his legacy. He needs to win 1 more playoff series or go down as one of the most overrated managers of all time. It's possible. It is possible. Again, that is a very good point. It really is. And I'm not going to lie. There's been plenty of times I've disagreed with him this year, but I think the exception with Buck was just the approach of how the managers were dealt out these last few times. I'd say Mickey Callaway had no business managing at all. Stuff that came out about him later, that's a different story. And also that doesn't help his case. Carlos Beltran didn't even manage. He never managed. And he still hasn't managed to this day. Luis Rojas, I think he was a great clubhouse guy. I think he would have been the great guy to hire when this team was a lot younger and had a lot of guys coming up through the farm. He would have been the guy to bring in after Terry Collins, in my opinion. But he just had no sense of urgency. The man was a robot. I think that's something that we can really all agree on. And then Buck, who actually has experience managing. And that's where I was like, okay, well, there's your manager. That's it. And again, there's not really much to complain about Buck when he leads us to 101 games that we win. If the team's winning, the team's winning. But at the end of the day, they didn't win. So it's a sour taste in your mouth, but there's a lot of components that took us to the downfall this year. A lot of components. And again, you can point your finger at anybody, but you'd run out of fingers, to be honest. Aside from Judge, what are the other offensive free agents we can sign offensively? Well, I talked about this a little bit. We touched about this on our post-game show for Game 3. If you guys want to watch that on playback, you can. One guy who I think is a perfect match for the Mets is Jock Peterson. Let me know. Let me know if you guys what do you guys think of Jock Peterson? Very balanced player. He can hit lefties if he has to. He's not amazing against them, but he's good against them. He can play in the corner if you need him to protect Pete, obviously. Yeah, definitely. I mean, imagine this protection of, hopefully, we all know the raw power of Alvarez. Alvarez and Peterson protecting Alonso over Escobar and Vogelbach. I take that as a massive upgrade, personally. Not to mention Jock with a lot of postseason experience. A lot of these guys we brought in were experienced players, but they didn't really have postseason experience. And even if they did, they didn't play well in it. The only guy we brought in was Scherzer, obviously. And look what happened game 1. So didn't work out. But yeah, I think Jock Peterson is a perfect fit. I've liked that for a while. Yeah, I wouldn't go after Bogarts because he's gonna want shortstop money, and we already have our shortstop. Mancini is an interesting one. I'd consider getting Mancini, but I think the Astros are gonna lock him down to like a team friendly deal. Josh Bell's possibility. Jansen will be a Met and win reliever of the year. I do not want to touch Kenley Jansen with a 10-foot pole. Absolutely not. There's a few free agents that I'm looking at right now, but I'm not fully in free agency mode right now. Kind of just reevaluating what's going on with the season. I'm just trying to evaluate it from in right now. Should we get Rodon? Jesus Christ. I think that's hard because, again, pitching in New York, it's a different ball game. I understand you can look at him statistically or whatever, but you also have to keep that in mind. Pitching in New York, there's a lot of scrutiny that goes along with it. We don't know if Rodon can keep up with that. We know he's talented. We know he's one of the best pitchers in all of baseball. But would I get Rodon? Sure. I, of course, would get Rodon. Absolutely. Will Beatty, Vientos, and Alvarez start next season with the Mets, or should they go down to AAA? I think that will be decided with spring training. I'm going to tell you right now, even though you have a lot of guys who could be going or whatever, I personally believe, with how bad McCann was, with how limited Nito is and how much he represents a backup catcher, I think Alvarez gets the starting job on opening day. I think he does. As for Beatty, I would not be surprised, and this is coming from someone else, some kind of whatever. If Nimmo walks, right? If Nimmo walks, you could move Jeff to the outfield, correct? That means Guillorme would be your second baseman. Let's say you bring in Trey Turner, right? Let's say that. Then I don't know if Guillorme or Escobar would be the main man out, with Beatty being there. Because Beatty, we know, they see him as a future third baseman. We know they do. But we haven't seen him prove anything yet. But from what I've seen and how I'm projecting the three of these guys, I'd say Beatty and Alvarez are the most likely to be on the opening day roster. And I wouldn't be surprised if they're starting on opening day. Vientos. That depends on how they approach the offense in free agency. I think we all know that there is a need at the DH position. Darren Ruff, he's not coming back. We know exactly he's not coming back. He did absolutely nothing. It was a complete waste. Vogelbach, very limited. Can face righties, can't face lefties, doesn't have a position in the outfield. So yeah, that's an ideal righty killing DH. I personally like him coming off the bench, but whatever. If you bring in Jock Peterson, let's say, someone like that, you bring him in, I don't want to say JD Martinez, but maybe Trey Mancini, something like that, of another type of bat that you can bring and can also provide you versatility. So more of Trey Mancini. That's when Vientos' decision is made. I think that, results aside, all three of these guys didn't look overmatched to Major League pitching. They all look like quality players, and hopefully they can grow from that. And that's what I think we're gonna see with Beatty, Alvarez, and Vientos. The odd man out is obviously Mauricio, and I think if he were, and this is the thing, if he were to be ever called up, that would be, and I don't think he stays. I think he does eventually get dealt. I don't know when, but if he does, it would probably be to replace Luis Guillorme eventually. If Luis Guillorme, is let go, or they non-tender him or something, because Guillorme's been here for, say, 4 years. He's been here for a while. So, if they want to move on from Guillorme, have a little bit of deeper of a bench, that's what I see the role for Mauricio. I don't see him as an outfielder, possibly maybe playing third base eventually, but not in this organization. But yeah, we'll see. We have a lot of guys in AAA, in the minors, who we definitely could see on the roster. We definitely could. We can definitely see them on the roster. There's some pieces that I like, and I want to see them, give them a chance to prove themselves. Oh, the Mariners lost? Jeez. Alvarez is a beast? Oh, yeah. Yes, he is. He is a beast. Yeah, I'm excited for Alvarez. I really am. I'm glad we got to see him. It wasn't the best time to call him up, but I really liked it. I liked one of those. I think it was a highly anticipated move. He threw it right down Broadway. He did. He did. Again, it's against the Nationals, but then you can also say, he means Jordan. Yeah, I got that. They just broke Seattle's hearts. Astros are a good team, so be tough. Did Paul Sewald screw up? If he screwed up, then that'll give me a smile. Is Rhino devastated? What, for Seattle? I mean, I don't know. Was it Sewald? Sewald screwed up? Hey, that guy's an asshole. Yeah, left 2 on. Ray came in and gave up a homer. Well, that counts as Sewald. Yeah, I guess. That does count as Sewald. So they went lefty-lefty with Jordan. That's kind of stupid because Jordan hits lefties almost as good as he hits righties. Yeah, Robbie Ray, I'm glad the Mets stayed away from that situation. I'll tell you right now. I was not fascinated with bringing him in, and I'm glad they didn't. All right, well, for those of you in here, I want you guys to leave a like. That'd be cool. You don't have to, but if you do, it's a nice thing to do. Subscribe if you guys are new. That'd be awesome. We're gonna have content coming up the wazoo throughout the entire off season. You guys have no idea how much we got going on for the off season. There's a lot of stuff. We got a lot of stuff coming. This shows your regular season means nothing when the postseason starts. Exactly. Anything can happen, folks. Anything can happen, and that's the beauty of baseball. That's the thing. That's how it works. Yeah, we got tons of stuff coming up, guys, for the off season. I have about 4 or 5 videos I'm going to record tonight. Tons of stuff, and then we have a big. We still haven't figured it out yet, but we have a big whole main attraction that we're going to start this off season. But I'm not going to give away most of it. But I think if you followed us for a while, I think you'll understand what type of direction we're going in. And that's just, for a reason. I think, how it's going to be, featured. Glad you found your channel. I'm glad you're here, man. We want Mets fans in here. We want to talk some Mets. That's what we're here to do. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it I have to say right now. But if you guys have any other questions, I can keep it going. I'll be on. I think I'll keep it on for about 10 more minutes, and then I'm gonna hop off, guys. Listening while at work. Yep. Thanks, Christopher. Christopher, one of our longtime viewers. On one of those, Urza or Merlin. I don't know how you want to how we're referring to him right now, but another one of our loyal viewers. We have a few regulars in here in the chat right now. Really liking what I'm seeing. Just found your channel recently. You're an awesome host. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. That's really nice of you to say. I really do try. I get very easily distracted, so it's hard for me to keep the focus. Just subscribe. Thanks, man. I really appreciate that. Yeah, we're really trying to we're building this up on the off season. Our goal is, and we haven't really publicly said this, but our goal before opening day, we want to hit 1,000. That's what we're trying to do. Trying to hit 1,000 by opening day. At least that's what I'm trying to do. The other 3 guys, I don't know what they're up to. I only see them during streams. I never talk to them in other way. All right. I'm just going to make sure there's any news that didn't pop out, because we all know that the Mets media is always on top of things and always going nuts. So I'm just going to make sure. Yeah. Wow. So Robbie Ray pitches down and in to Jordan. That's stupid. How do you do that? How can you pitch down and in to Jordan? Come on. That's just stupid. That's just dumb. You can't do that. Do we have an AL team? to say I'll go with Cleveland. Why not? I like J-Ram. And if not, I'll go with either Seattle or Cleveland. I have a Mariners backdrop. Yeah, it's a green screen, but yeah, I think it can tie in with the Mariners. It definitely can. beat it, BL Atlanta. A little too late for that for us, but if the Phillies do it, the Phillies do it. Can't say I'm really rooting for any team in that series. It's like pulling teeth, to be honest. But yeah, I guess I'll give you guys a little bit of a preview of what's to come during this week. We have. I'll try to keep it all on low or whatever, but we are going to talk about some of the backbreakers that we had of this season. We're going to talk about some Mets free agents, whether we want them back or not. A lot of Mets-centric stuff. So half offseason, half regular season recap, stuff like that. That's what you guys are going to see in the next week or two. For that, we obviously will have our live show on Thursday. But we might do a little bit of a different concept there. I'm not sure. We'll figure that out. But yeah, we have tons of stuff coming. The Mets season may be over, but we are not done here. All off season. My goal is to get six videos out a week. That'd be nice. Get one out every day. That'd be nice. And if I don't get a video out, you'll probably see maybe a stream or you'll see some extra stuff. Lots of stuff coming, guys. Lots of stuff coming. By opening day, this is definitely going to be a lot bigger of a operation, shall we say, with Mets Weekly. So I'm excited to see what we have coming in the future. And I hope you guys are excited too, because this is not possible without you guys watching, subscribing, liking, all of that stuff. That keeps us going. It really does. And, a lot of people say that it doesn't go noticed enough, but we really want to hope that it does not go unnoticed, because the endless support all season, ever since it was started, even before we joined ESM, it's been incredible, guys, and I really appreciate it. And hopefully it continues to grow. But yeah, I think that's where I'm going to end it here. Thank you for those who came out to chat. We'll get through this, guys. We've seen a lot of heartbreaking Mets losses. This one was just a tough one because of the expectations that were set, and they didn't deliver. But that's the nature of being a Mets fan. Sometimes you just don't win, and that's just how it is. And hopefully it's better next year. And that's what we hope. And yeah, that's it. So make sure to go to empiresportsmedia.com for all your New York sports needs, not just baseball, not just Mets baseball, all of the New York sports. Links are all in the description for me individually, even though I'm not really one to post on my individual channel really anymore. I don't think I don't think that's going to happen in a while. So other than that, you can follow me on Twitter. The links are in the description. Follow Frank, Andrew, Tony, everybody that's a part of it. And I also do want to give one more shout out to Danny Did That, who is our graphic designer and works on the thumbnails and in graphics and all of that stuff. He has been absolutely incredible throughout this entire thing. His links are also in the description as well. You guys can go check him out. He does a lot of great stuff for all of Empire Sports Media. So that's something that you guys should go acknowledge. He really has been one of the biggest helps for us throughout this entire season. And yeah, I just want to shout him out. I think I forgot to do that, so I don't want that to go unnoticed because he's done an incredible job um, with this current situation that we have, and it's been a pleasure working with him and kind of developing this kind of brand going on with Mets Weekly right now. So other than that, guys, we'll see you guys next time. Video it's going to be coming out tomorrow, kind of just covering a lot that went on during the season, what kind of went wrong, what went right, stuff like that, and some other stuff going out through the week. We have our Thursday live stream, stuff like that. Tons of different content you're going to see, and we're just going to keep adding to the branch, and that's pretty much it. So I'm going to go watch my Rangers play hockey on opening night. Hopefully, I don't get heartbroken on ESPN for the 5th straight night. But you know what? That's just how it goes sometimes. Sometimes you just don't win in sports. But other than that, guys, I'm going to see you guys next time. Hopefully Thursday, video coming out tomorrow. We'll see you guys next time. Let's go Mets. Wait till next year, guys. Wait till next year. Hopefully it'll be better. All right. I'll see you guys next time.